For those who work at sea, what's the creepiest thing you've seen in the water? All manner of trash out at sea. We were sailing off West Africa in the Atlantic and saw something white bobbing on the horizon, and had to investigate to make sure it wasn't someone in distress. Turns out it was a full-size refrigerator just floating in the ocean. Also, the amount of fine sand and dust blowing off the Sahara is wild. The sky turns a shade of orange and the dust gets everywhere. 3 floating deer carcasses tied to a safety buoy. Our theory was someone must have brought frozen deer in their vessel and threw them overboard at some point. Absolutely no idea why. Weird as hell. A half-sunk yacht, full of sharks. It wasn't creepy, but eerie being out at night during a lightning storm with a slack wind. The ocean was flat with tiny ripples. In the darkness, lightning would flash, turning everything silver. The water resembled crumpled aluminum foil or mercury, with the ripples casting sharp black shadows. I've been nudged in the ribs by a 7FT plus sturgeon in the Russian River while drunk. Watching the body swim past me terrified me more than the hammerhead swimming under me while snorkeling in Hawaii. Not working, but a mini break with my partner to Amsterdam via North Shields. The North Sea was particularly bad that night. The captain was debating on whether it was safe to depart, and ultimately went for it. The ferry was swaying side to side to the point that all you seen was sky on one side, and dark water on the other. Only time I've ever been seasick. Having left the port city of Cobb, Ireland, well after midnight saw an orca just under the surface of the very dark sea, sideways, looking up at me as it followed the ship. This was on the aft end fantail of a guided missile cruiser. Currently at sea as I type this. Well, not necessarily in the water, but we went through a huge patch of fog. Last week for about 2-3 days standing on the bow could only see about 150 yards out. I was expecting Pyramid Head to row up in his pyramid boat at any moment. It's just super creepy knowing beyond that fog is just an endless ocean, all around. Edit. I posted a picture on my profile of the creepy ocean fog, in case you wanted to see. Not seen, but heard. Being under the ice pack, the sounds of the ice shifting sounded like a witch's scream. Knew what it was, but still sent chills. I love these threads so much, I end up reading the whole thing every time. A little story from when I was a third engineer on board a reefer vessel sailing southbound in the Atlantic by the West African coast. Think we were sailing past Senegal. For reference, the work watches of a third is about 220. At around 3 a.m. we had a failure in the main propulsion and all engineers were called to assist with bringing it back online. We managed to bring it back 3 hours later, already sleep deprived and exhausted from being in a 50-degree C engine room. I went up to the stern to have a cigarette, casually leaning on the railing staring into the abyss. I heard a voice say, "Jump in. The water's cool." I was instantly taken back and looked around only to find just myself on the stern, at the time no one else in the vicinity. I basically noped TF out and went to eat breakfast and get 1 hour sleep, so I was ready for my watch. On the plus side, I did see whales breaching the water on the northbound sail back to Europe. Hundreds of sea snakes feasting on the bloated corpse of some kind of animal. Don't work at sea, but was fishing. We hooked a fairly large shark in clear shallow water 15 m, and it just chilled next to the boat. Boat was maybe 8 m? Anyway, before we cut the line, a huge dark shape loomed up and swam next to the shark we hooked, and it was even fucking bigger. Maybe an extra meter and a bit, but that's an extra meter of fucking body. I felt a visceral primal fear. Like I was a monkey as I clung to the boat and seen this giant shark checking out its buddy and us. We cut the line and watched them both swim away side by side. I never went back out to sea. Fuck that. Sea snakes in the Persian Gulf. Bright neon pink. Pretty easy to spot. We stationed a sea snake watch, so we could enjoy a little swim call while we were hanging out right after Desert Storm. It was like a giant squid, but way bigger. Makes you think about what could people from long time ago could have seen. Dead body floating in the sea. The woman was never identified and the body showed signs of violence. In the Strait of Hormuz, an absolute writhing mass of sea snakes hundreds of yards across. Also, in the same area, hundreds of dead bloated sheep blown up like giant fuzzy beach balls. One time, I saw a floating mannequin in the water and thought it was a dead body. Turned out it was just a prank from my coworkers. At least I hope it was. Nothing. It's just weird when you look out over the ocean and there's just nothing but water in any direction. Then it starts getting dark and all you see is black water below and the brightest stars above you've ever seen. I desperately want pictures of about half of these. The other half make me wish I had a worse imagination.